we're going to get going right away and start with the Radio Award. It is given for a feature series of reports or a single programme that covers issues and stories in a developing country. Let's hear a clip from each of the nominees.
File on 4, Ebola, BBC. Simon Cox and John Murphy went behind the daily coverage of Ebola to ask a simple question. Could and should the epidemic have been stopped earlier? They revealed a litany of failures by the international community and its agencies.
July the 25th. Nigerian Ministry of Health reports first death from Ebola. Total deaths now stand at 672.
She lasted for a week and 4 days, then eventually she died.
Dennis's pregnant wife, Justina, was a nurse who helped to treat an American citizen with Ebola who travelled from Liberia to Nigeria. She contracted the virus on her first day in the job.
Afghan women speaking out, losing lives. BBC Radio 4 and BBC World Service. Lise Doucette investigated the lives of Afghan girls and women at a crossroads, hearing about advances since the defeat of the Taliban 13 years ago, but also listening to fears for the future as foreign troops depart.
I'm coming through the hospital now to meet Dr. Rila, who's the head of training for midwives. Hello. Salam, Dr. Rila.
Please come and sit.
So you're doing training of midwives tonight?
Yes, student midwives.
And where are they from?
They came from Daikundi. It's far away, the rural area of Afghanistan. They are not midwives, they are community midwives. After 2 years, we send back them to their own areas, which there is no clinic, no nurse, no doctors. They are the nurse, doctor, midwife, everything.
Inside the Osama bin Laden Imam School, BBC World Service. All over Pakistan, a web of schools is spreading, training imams to preach a purist understanding of Islam. Mobeen Azhar reported from inside a controversial madrasa in Islamabad.
Every man's a terrorist these days. We all see him as a hero. The students all support Osama bin Laden. He's a hero. In fact, in Iraq, Syria, in Al-Qaeda, there's a big student movement.
But let's be really specific. If one of your students comes to you and says that they want to fight, would you encourage them to do that? Would you allow them to do that?
Look, our speciality is education, not weapons. We teach about jihad, so when they finish with us, it's their own decision.
Please welcome Al Jazeera presenter Barbara Serra to reveal the winner of this year's Radio Award. There's an interesting fact as she comes up here. She has a unique status in British broadcasting because when she started her career in Channel 5, she was the first and only newsreader to speak English as a second language. Barbara.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here. And before I start, I just want to take this opportunity to thank you all, thank One World Media, but all of you really, for all the help that you've given and support for the Free AJ Staff campaign. As we heard, the guys are no longer in prison, but they're far from free. The trial is still going on. Many of them aren't free to travel. And I know for a fact that they've been really touched by all the support that they've got, certainly by all the organizations here and many individuals that would come to the various demonstrations outside the Egyptian embassy and really pressured the government. So on behalf of all of them and of Al Jazeera, I thank you for that. Al Jazeera has been a supporter for many years of the One World Media Award because we share the same ethos and aim, and that is to be the voice of the voiceless, to bring those unreported stories out there. And often, I guess, in broadcasting, when it comes to that voice, TV seems to steal the show, but actually radio is just as powerful in telling those stories. And very often, especially in war zones, many interviewees that would be too intimidated, fearful for their lives and safety to speak to TV would actually then choose to speak to radio and often be more open in front of a radio mic than they would be in front of the lens of a TV camera. So it's a great honor for me to announce that the winner of the Radio Award is Afghan Women Speaking Out, Losing Lives.
Thank you very much. This is firstly for the BBC and for my commissioning editor who commissioned this and who managed to make it happen very, very quickly. He's in the audience, so I have to say that anyway. It's really for Lise as well, who is out in the field as she nearly always is. But it's about her level of old-fashioned journalism. And above all, it's for the women that she managed to speak to. We really badly wanted to get a group of women who were, in the end, one by one dropped out. They were too frightened to speak. So we went for the women who would speak, for the midwives, for the school teachers, for the doctors, whoever would speak and would tell their stories. And for me, the most moving thing of all is I've got a 15-year-old daughter. And when I listened to the 15-year-old girls who spoke to Lise in Kabul and heard their stories and heard their wishes, their optimism for the future, it was so moving. And what's so fantastic is when those stories get out there and then when they win an award like this, it makes me feel that people will listen and that their lives will improve, which is what these programmes are all about.